Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel, All Things Taylor, just in time for another wicked Q&A Wednesday with yours truly. Before we get right down to this, it's like super hot, so I'm sorry if I'm going to be coughing quite a bit, you know, restrictive lung disease and all that. So for a bunch of you new subscribers, there's about 200 of you, y'all rock. You're in for a crazy wild ride. Just pardon the coughs and also my learning curve with all these new tech things that I have going on. You guys have all been so patient so far, so thank you. Before we get right down to this week with a ton of really awesome questions from all of my YouTubers, you guys have been holding up the fort. It's awesome in the Taylor Army community. I just want to ask a huge favor. If you all could go ahead and like this video. I was recently talking to someone and they let me know that with the new algorithm for YouTube, and I like learned a new word. I was like, ooh, algorithm. And they let me know that that would help more viewers see my channel and me pop up in more recommendations, which means I extend the opportunity to increase the Taylor Army. And you guys are already so amazing on Instagram and my Twitter. I want to also keep the community vibe going here on my YouTube channel. So in order to do that, I need you guys' help. So if we can all together like my video, share and subscribe, but definitely like the video, and it's going to help more eyeballs for this channel. So thank you. All right, let's get right down to this here. My first question comes from my YouTube channel, a newer subscriber, and they asked me if I would be interested in working for the NWA, and especially with them pumping more money and attention into their women's division, and now with the recent announcement of the women's tournament pay-per-view. The answer is I would definitely consider it. I am not against it. I've had a lot of offers come in since late 2019 through now, but due to the pandemic, I didn't really feel comfortable taking anything, and so it's given me kind of a new perspective. And for me, I love being my own boss and respecting my own hustle and all the work I put into my brand, you know, so I like that creative freedom. So in order for me to want to give up that sort of creative control and creative freedom, it would have to be a really good deal. You know, especially because in wrestling, what a lot of fans don't understand is us as the wrestlers don't always, when we go and work for a company, we don't always have control over how we're presented, how we're booked, and the repercussions that has and the ramifications it has on our brand. And some wrestlers don't even understand a brand, which puts them at a disadvantage. You know, it's not necessarily something taught at wrestling school. So there's just a lot of variables that go into that. However, I really do like NWA. And, you know, I've covered them for Fightful.com. I've wrote a lot about, you know, Camille Brickhouse and Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa for Fightful.com. So I'm extremely familiar with their product, and I actually enjoy it because I had basically the same old school training as Mickie James and Serena Deeb, and I've wrestled with both of them, and I've also wrestled quite a few times Thunder Rosa. So I know I would fit in great there. I know that that old school vibe really fits how I approach wrestling, with gimmicks and having my matches tell a story within a story, and how I cut my promos and how I present, you know, my brand. So that's totally not even out of the question. I definitely agree with it. And I really love Mickie James. I get along so well with her. I love her to death. And I love Melina. So I would totally love to get a chance to work with her. Shout out to you, my girl. You are awesome. She's really so cool. So yeah, I'm definitely not against it. I think it would be very interesting, especially to, you know, get that old school vibe. I think that's a really cool niche market, and old school wrestling is how wrestling got to where it's at today. You know, that old school storytelling and introducing characters and stuff. So I definitely think there's a market for it. Next question is workouts. Someone on my YouTube asked me what kind of workouts I do when I'm full-time on the road and when I'm at home right now. The answer is not very easy. It's kind of a loaded question because I'm a type of person, as you guys know, I'm always learning about something. Even if it doesn't apply to me, I just like learning new things. I find it fascinating. It also makes talking to strangers so much more interesting because you learn so much. And I always feel like if you're not busy learning, then you're busy dying. You know, every new day is a new opportunity to be better and more educated and well-rounded than you were the day before. You know, I don't never claim to know about things that I don't actually know about, and I won't speak on things that I don't know about because I think that that's, you know, an ego thing, and, you know, my ego doesn't need to block out the sun, you know. I'm just not one of those people. People have said I'm that kind of person, but it's just not who I am, man, you know. And for me, working out, diet, and healthy habits has really changed over the years. For me, I've really learned the lesson of, oh, honey, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I used to do some crazy, outrageous things. I used to weigh my food, and I used to squat like 300 plus pounds. Like, why? You don't need to do that. Why are you doing that? It probably did so much damage. Like, I have knee injuries and ankles and foot injuries. It's like, Taylor, that was so stupid. And I would have like 50 to 75-pound dumbbells and like crazy cardio and all this other stuff and supplements, and it's so unhealthy, and so it's like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Full disclaimer. But that also did make, doing the tombstone pile driver like a really awesome decision, because I did all of that on me. I'm 5'7" of legs. Like, I have like no torso. My torso is so tiny. I'm all legs. So for me, that's where all of my power is. And that's why I had a lot of leg-based stuff in my wrestling repertoire, from submissions to different kicks and all kinds of other moves and reversals and stuff. Like, that was always just very easy for me. And so doing the tombstone pile driver was awesome, epic, and easy as pie for me personally. I, to this day, I've not heard a single person with my tombstone pile driver finisher. Not a one. Not a one. And the reason why is because all of my power is really in my lower body. And I would tell the girls, I do not want you cartwheeling up. I do not want you jumping up for me. I do not want you to post and cartwheel yourself up like a reverse, body slam. No, let me deadlift you up. If you are not exactly where I need you to be, we're not going to go until I go and hoist you up a little bit higher to get you where I need you to be. Very easy, very easy. And so, that always came very naturally to me. Very, very fun. Such a fun finisher. But yeah, so my workouts are so different. Now, if I go back on the road 24/7 like I used to, even still, my workouts would still be different. At this point, I focus a little less on cardio and a little bit more on repetition. I learned about band workouts. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I think I have like something stuck in my lipstick. Okay. Sorry about that. I had no idea what band workouts were. When I saw those at the gym, I'd be like, what are you doing? Are you doing physical therapy in that mirror? Like, what are you doing? Now I'm like, holy moly, so many people do these and I didn't realize it. It's like you're using weighted bands. I remember the first person I ever saw and I didn't know what they were doing and I didn't ask. And I was just like, I've never seen this before. I wonder what they're doing. I remember I was at Ring of Honor back in the day, like way before my huge stint in Ring of Honor. That started in like 2015, I think. Way before that, I think it was like circa 09 or something, or maybe like 2010. Like super young Taeler Hendrix. I was the One Girl Revolution, and I saw Roderick Strong put a weighted band on. And I didn't even know it was weighted at the time, and he like started doing squats right before his entrance, and I was like, what is he doing? I don't get it. Why is that on his legs? Like, is he injured? Like, I just did not get it. I didn't understand. And then fast forward years later, I'm like, oh my God, these things are amazing. How did I not know about this? And how can I make my life all about it? One of those things. So I definitely do a lot of weighted band workouts, body workouts where I'm just using my own body against itself as a weight. I do 30 minutes to an hour on the treadmill at like a really good swift pace. I try to push myself because of restrictive lung disease, but obviously not in a dangerous way. And I do that probably about 5 times a week. I like to mix it up in different days and keep my body not, used to a particular routine, because I get, I think like a body can get bored, but that's my personal opinion. Like I said, there's not a one size fits all with, health and fitness and things like that. It's not one workout that works for everybody. Everybody has different needs. So these are specifically for my needs. 30 minutes to an hour on the cardio, not crazy, but not, boring. And then I do bands, and I do not use weights over like 20 pounds anymore. I just don't find it necessary. What I like is, the repetition. I get more toning and stuff out of that, and like muscle memory out of the repetition. So that's what I'm more focused on, instead of that, meathead lifestyle that I used to have, where you gotta have your protein shake, brother. Don't forget your apple. And, weighing the food and boiled chicken and, all that nonsense. I just think there's a better way and a better way to live and stuff. So that's what I'm focused on now. But it takes doing, learning. Okay, there's so much more I could say on that, but I'm not going to bore people to tears with that. Someone asked me, ooh, this is an extremely loaded question. I could do like a whole podcast. Actually, my podcast basically is about stuff like this. So that's hilarious. Shout out to Talks with Taeler Hendrix on russosbrand.com. Okay, someone asked me on my YouTube channel, what, if anything, would I tell the people that were recently released from WWE? Well, the ironic thing is I know a bunch of these people and I've wrestled with a bunch of these people. So I kind of I have a really good idea on what to say. But what you guys have to understand is there is so much that goes on that you guys have no idea about. And when some people try to break that barrier and try to tell you about it, they kind of get targeted by the status quo. And what that means is there is a large percentage of people in the business that benefit from the way things are. And that's not, people like to think I'm a man hater. I'm not. It's not just men that benefit from, and it's not all men either that benefit from it. That's why you guys have to really pay attention. There's a percentage of men and women that are a part of what I believe is the status quo in wrestling. It's kind of like this cult-like mentality, its own little wrestling bubble. So it hasn't quite caught up to, what's going on in the world today. It lives in its own like cult-like mentality, its own little wrestling bubble. But this status quo of men and women benefit from how the system and how things currently are. They do not like system disruptors. They do not like people that will speak up. They do not like people that will go against the grain. They do not like people that ask, why do we have to stand in line? Why? They don't like people that ask questions. They like people that will play into the system because they benefit from it. It also makes them feel better about themselves and so forth and so on. And by creating the next generation that fit into the status quo, they're therefore ensuring that the status quo and their benefit from it will continue, thus making beneficiaries and so forth and so on. And part of that status quo is keeping fans in the dark. So there is so much that goes on that you, the fans, don't know about. And when there's people that try to tell you about it, there's people that like attack them. Like freaking velociraptors, like, yeah! Oh, I'm sorry, Scoobs. I just scared one of my dogs. Oh, honey. Poor thing. And so when you see some of these releases, I see a lot of, fans being like, oh my God, I can't believe they're released. Oh, they're so stupid. It's like, not all releases are based on talent. There's so many different reasons for releases. A reason could be getting ready to sell the company. And so by releasing people, you're decreasing your overhead on how much you spend. So therefore your profit margin looks so much more impressive. It's like a legal somewhat way to cook the books, so to speak, if anybody's familiar with that, phrase and what that means. So that could be a reason. Falling out of favor is a very big reason. Unaligned values and goals is a reason. Massive heat in the back is a reason. Not benefiting the status quo is a very big reason. And not fitting into the stipulations of your contract is a big thing. So there's a lot of different things that can involve a person, a talent being cut. And we as the talent don't always get that answer. Just like a lot of football players who have agents, they don't always get the real answer either. And sometimes it's probably for the best, because when you do get the real answer, it really messes with you mentally. I would know firsthand. When I got the real reason, it was like I couldn't believe it. That affected me for years. And I'm not the only person. This has happened to a lot of people. So there's just so much that I wish like the fans would know about and get a better glimpse of so they can have a better understanding of what's really going on. So I think one of the things that I would say is to these people that got released, like, boy, yo, girl, there are so many people in your life that are going to line up for the opportunity so excitedly, like wanting to be first in line to tell you you weren't good enough, to tell you you ain't shit, to tell you you don't matter, that you never should have been signed, and that, you should just be, kissing the feet of the office, and, you should just be thanking your lucky stars you even had an opportunity. There's going to be so many people lining up to tell you aren't good enough and lining up to quit on you. Do not let you be one of those people. Okay, so many people are going to walk in and out of your life. Don't let you be one of them. If this was your dream, you had that dream for a reason. Allow yourself the freedom and the relief Okay, allow that freedom and relief. Okay, and then apologize to yourself for all the times that you unknowingly made yourself feel small. Okay, forgive yourself and apologize to your younger self for all the times that you pandered away from what your goals and your dreams were to get the fickle opinions and approval of others. Okay, and then understand that this is just one chapter, and you're already going to be on to the next newest chapter. Okay, there is 6 months left to 2021. How you choose to use those 6 months is entirely up to you. It takes 5 minutes to commit yourself to a change that will better the rest of your life. 5 minutes. So if you could believe in Santa Claus as a kid for 5 years, as an adult, you should be able to believe in yourself for 5 minutes to make your life better so that you can look back, and instead of having to apologize to the little kid that you were, you can look at yourself, give yourself an epic subliminal hug, a high five, and say, we got this shizit. This is going to be an epic ride. You ready? What would you rather have? You know, I think a lot of the times we as wrestlers, you know, get so caught up in what everybody else thinks is successful in wrestling that we forget that we ourselves should be defining that for ourselves. You know, if WWE didn't work out right now, that's okay. Who knows, in 6 months, it could work out and be different. But you need to be working on you, doing your dream, focusing on you. Take a few days, maybe in a month. It's okay. Breathe. Calm down, process, relax, move forward, bounce back. It is okay to go silent for a while and work really, really hard and let your success be your noise. That's what you got to do now. Just because you got released from WWE does not mean you are not talented. It does not mean you are not worthy of TV time. It does not mean you are not worthy of a salary. It does not mean that you were not meant for this business. It does not mean any of those things, okay? It was just time to move on, or somebody else didn't see your value, or all kinds of other existential circumstances that you can't control. Okay, so figure out what you have to do so that you can feel better. Okay, because everybody else's opinions right now telling you how amazing you are, that's great, but they're not going to be around 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 months from now, a year from now, 2 and 5 and 10 years from now. All of that is superficial, and it's only right now, and that's great. Use it to pump you up, but don't rely on it because it's going to be gone. You have to learn how to cheer for yourself in the silence. Believe in yourself when no one else will. Don't sacrifice your integrity, and work hard for your own dream, because nobody else is going to put in that work for you except you. And you know, all the people that are saying how amazing you are right now, how many of those people were saying you were amazing 6 months ago? And then divide that in half, and then divide that in half again. That's how many are still going to be cheering for you in the future if you're lucky. So you need to be your biggest cheerleader. You need to be your biggest noisemaker. But before you go and be that noisemaker, you need to ignore the negative noise and let your success be your true noise. Ghost for a while. Ghost, and then come back bigger, better, stronger, smarter, more evolved, happier, and more successful than ever. Okay? Fickleness isn't going to provide you happiness, okay? It's just not. So do not define your self-worth on all these fickle things that you can't control. Do not pander. Focus on you. There's 6 months left of 2021. How you choose to use them is entirely up to you. Decide what you want, how badly you want it, and then go work for it, and you will most likely get it. Those are the types of things that I would tell them, because those are the types of things that I wish somebody would have told me, because I was so lost for so long. You know, there's so many of these people who are, you know, going to struggle when they don't have to, you know, they don't have to. So that's what I would tell them. And I'm cheering for them all the way. I'm rooting for them to succeed, because success is not a pie. More success for them does not mean less success for me or for you or for anyone else. So that's what I would say. There's probably a lot more, but that's what immediately comes to mind, because those are all things I believe in. And I hope that they find the guts and the gumption and the self-love that they need to learn how to be free with their authenticity moving forward, and not let the WWE logo be the sole factor in their identity. And that's nothing against WWE. It's just WWE is not responsible for their happiness. They're responsible for their own happiness, not the company. So that's what I hope that they find. And I hope that they realize that, you know, likes and comments, while they're great, you know, you have to love yourself first. And, you know, you can pump out all kinds of fake positivity on social media, but eventually people are going to see if you don't mean it, you know, so you got to mean what you say. and have your actions meet your words and be free with your authenticity. That's the most freeing and most powerful, empowering thing that you can do, is be free with your authenticity. At that point, nobody can use anything against you, because we're in a business where people are, you know, they all want very similar things, but, you know, not everybody's playing the same game in order to get it, if you know what I mean. So, you know, you can't swallow enough lipstick to make yourself pretty on the inside. And there's a lot of people that like to play victim, and they play it so well that they should carry around their own body chalk. I've said those things before, I'll say them again. So don't let yourself be one of those quitters who quits on you. Don't be, you know, one of those people that's stuck as a victim. You deserve to be a thriver. And, you know, don't be focused on the fickle likes and comments and stuff like that, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, there's only so long before people start to stop believing in you too, because you couldn't believe in yourself. So, oh my God, there's so much I could say on that. That's a really good question. Shout out. Okay. Favorite non-wrestling villain. Oh, this is a good one. I always wanted to be like the Madam Hydra of pro wrestling, and she's like the villain that, you know, is a leader of Hydra, and she's like a super freaking pain in the butt to Captain America. So I would totally love that. Madam Hydra, that was totally my vibe. And the last few years of my career, I really poured my heart and soul into a gimmick like that. So loved it. It was so cool when I had like tentacles on my gear that mixed with the vines on my gear. It was so awesome. I like Lobo a lot, and Deathstroke. Let's see. Gosh, there's so I don't, oh, this is so hard because there's just so many things that I love. Oof. Good question. This one's difficult. I might have to come back to that one at another time. Favorite Disney movie. I'm not sure. This also comes from my YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you mean animated or like live action. Growing up, I was super obsessed with Peter Pan / Hook with Robin Williams. Like, I was all about it. Loved it. I even think I did an interview once where I was like totally like, yeah, like Peter Pan all the way. But as far as like live action, I don't know. I just love movies just so much. I love movies. Like, I've always wanted to be an actress. Always. That was like my first real dream before I found wrestling. And that's one of the things that drew me to wrestling, was the acting aspect of the characters and the gimmicks and the performing and stuff. So yeah, there's just so many, man. That's a really good question. And that kind of segues off of another question from my YouTube channel, where do I like movie theaters? I love movie theaters. Grew up in the movie theater. I remember back when like a movie was like $5.50. Not today. You know, I feel like I'm really excited to, I know I talked about this on my podcast, Talks with Taeler Hendrix, but I think I will tell you guys here too. I'm going to start doing movie reviews here, and they're going to be wicked good. Bring out the Boston in me, or I should say the Boston. I'm so excited. I love movie theaters. I love movies. I love Disney. It's like the happiest place on earth. I totally would love to be like a Disney villain. That would be so awesome. Like, I love Maleficent, and I love Ursula, Captain Hook. I have so many socks that are Disney villains. Here's a little fun fact that kind of goes along with that. A lot of my wrestling matches, I was either wearing Dr. Seuss socks or Maleficent socks. So yeah, if you guys want a little fun fact, that's a fun fact. Most of my Ring of Honor matches, I was actually wearing Maleficent socks. It was like an ongoing joke between myself and Kelly Klein. Because she was like, you're more like a Disney princess in real life, but you walk, talk, and act like a Disney villain. Oh, good times. Okay, movie theaters, love them. I remember going to see Underworld in theaters, and I was like, I am so Celine. I love this. It's awesome. I remember I went to the movies to see Hey Arnold, and me and my mom were the only people in the movie theater that day. It was crazy awesome. I've seen so many movies in movie theaters. It's so cool. I just love that vibe. I miss that so much, but I don't miss the crazy ticket prices though. Avatar was crazy cool in the movie theaters. Oh, I saw all Lord of the Rings in the movie theater, like in the debuts. And then I remember I took my little sister to the Twilight 2 premiere because she was like obsessed with Twilight. Current, what is this? Current wrestlers. What is that supposed to be? Crud. I don't know what that, I write little notes about the questions and memorize them, and I don't remember what this question was. I'm so sorry. I've been hitting the head a lot for a living, like 7 concussions, so I'm sorry. If I remember, I will totally try to do that next week if I can. Okay. Another person on my YouTube channel asked me, like, what is a proudest moment in my career that would potentially like explain, you know, who I am as a person, and that is kind of indicative of who I am and why it's my proudest moment. This one was really difficult, guys. Like, this was such a good, you guys had so many good questions this week, like insane. And I like that we're also branching outside of wrestling too, because I have so much to talk about, like so many different things. Proudest moment for me, gosh, there were several. You know, I was really proud to be signed to Impact Wrestling. I desperately wanted to be more a part of that Knockouts division and learn from women that were more successful than me. You know, because I was just a young, you know, girl. I was only like 6 years in the business or something like that. And I was just so insecure and uncomfortable in my own skin. You know, I remember just feeling like a little girl on a roster full of these just amazingly beautiful, gosh, they were just gorgeous women, you know, and they all looked amazing and knew what looked good on them, confident in their bodies and their skins. And then I'm just like, holy, I'm Taeler Hendrix. You know, I was like, I don't know what to do with my hands. You know, I didn't know anything. I didn't know my hand from my elbow. I didn't know about fashion or makeup. Or I remember bringing a picture of an Avril Lavigne hairstyle, and I remember giving it to one of the ladies and was like, can you do this for me? You know, I didn't know anything about anything, but I was really proud to get that contract. That was really cool. What else am I really proud of? I'm insanely proud of the no DQ match I had with Mandy Leon at Ring of Honor. And honestly, I think if I hadn't nailed those promos leading up to that, I don't think I would have won that match, because I didn't know I was winning until that day. Like, I had no idea. Like, I wasn't told in advance. And I remember the instructions given to me, they were like, hey, can you do a couple promos for us that we can use to lead up to the no DQ match with Mandy? And I kind of took that upon myself. And I remember reaching out to like every like videographer type of film person that I knew in wrestling that I would see filming the events for different promotions and stuff. And then finally, Beyond Wrestling, who does WWR, was like, yo, contact this person because they actually filmed these and this and this and this vignette, and they actually did this documentary for this wrestler, so they're probably your best bet. And this person really brought my vision to life for 3 out of the 4 of those. One of them was their own vision because I needed 4 and I only had 3 ideas. And I was super proud of those promos. Nobody else was doing stuff like that at that time at Ring of Honor. So then when I sent them to Ring of Honor, I was at the Future of Honor camp, and I started, they came in and I gave them to, you know, Hunter and Kevin Kelly and stuff. And like, I blew their socks off. It was so insane. They were like, what? I think they were just expecting me to be like, yo, listen up, brother, mark your calendars for December, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like super old, corny 1980s promos that people still do today, which blows my mind. It's like, have you not evolved? Like, what is your gimmick? Like, what do you do besides acrobats? Anyways, and I blew their socks off, and then I ended up finding out that, you know, I was gonna win, and you know, Mandy and I had a lot of creative input when agents were actually putting together a match. And that was crazy because most of my matches up to that point and even after that, I didn't really have much creative input at all. And so that was really cool. And overall, even though the production people really messed up, like they put all of the stuff that we needed in all the wrong spots. So that's why there's a lot of time in that match where you see us walking around crazy amounts of distances, because even though they said they were going to put their stuff at A, B, and C, they ended up putting them at H, I, J, and K. So, but overall, I was so proud of that match. I so was. And I remember I protected her so well, you know, doing the tombstone onto the chairs and knowing that she was completely fine and the whole crowd was like going crazy. That was just such an amazing moment for us and we felt for the women's division. And then when we get to the back and like nobody was really putting it over, and you know, it was like a ghost town back there, and her and I were like so surprised, so we were like just trying to pump up each other with how, you know, awesome we felt it was and stuff. And but I'm still very proud of those promos and that match. And then probably the one of the other proudest moments of my life for wrestling I would probably have to say my promo that I did the last day at WWE for my WWE tryout in 2015. The reason why I'm so proud of that is because I think it really does answer the question this person on my YouTube channel asked with, about that moment really kind of showing who I am as a person and not just as a wrestler. I cut this promo at WWE. It was before we did our matches. I was going to wrestle Jessica Havoc that day. Ember Moon had wrestled Jessica Havoc the day before, and then Ember Moon was going to wrestle somebody else that last day. And this last day happens to be the day before my birthday, June 6th, which is an ongoing joke with my fans about that day, which I can tell another time. And I went to this tryout, and this tryout was ultimately the reason why I missed my sister's high school graduation. So that was like a very big moment with my family. And I cut this promo, and I'm in my brand new green and gold gear that was made specifically for WWE. And I start telling this story about how after my father left my mom and me when I was very young, I wasn't even walking yet. I was like a little toddler. My mom had to wait outside of some sort of soup kitchen or something like that in a legit bona fide New England snowstorm in Massachusetts. And she was waiting there because she didn't have any money for anything to be under the Christmas tree in our little apartment in the middle of the city on the 4th floor. And I don't remember this, but I remember the second half of the story perfectly to this day, despite all my concussions. And I'm telling them how she was waiting out in this snow at this, soup kitchen place, like a Salvation Army type of thing, because they were handing out little stuffed animals. And my mom desperately wanted there to be something under the tree because that meant something to her. And, we were alone and struggling. And even though it's my mother's birthday, she wanted to make sure that her little girl had something under the tree for Christmas. And my mother swore to me that never again in my life, as long as it was in her control, I would never again go without. And the very next year, when I was 3 years old, my mother had worked her way off of welfare. My mother had her own job. And I woke up, and it's Christmas time. And I woke up, and I see my mom's not around. I don't hear her, nothing. So I walk over to her room in our little apartment, and I don't see her. So I'm like, Mom, Mommy. I always called her Mum. So, Mummy. And I keep walking down this hallway, and I turn the corner, and there it is. And there she is. I walked into this wonderland of toys in our living room. It was like the Christmas tree exploded Christmas. And to this day, I remember some of the toys I got that year. I was 3 years old. This is one of my earliest memories. I was 3 years old. And I'm going to cry. One of those presents was a Belle Barbie doll that came with, her peasant dress. And it also came with that big puffy sleeved gold ballroom dress. And it was such a proud moment for my mom as a single mom who would work so hard. And here I go. And she kept her promise. I did not go without. I had so many Christmas presents under the tree, coloring books, crayons, a pair of yellow and blue Fisher-Price beginner's roller skates that attached to your sneakers. And I had bubbles and jacks and this Belle Barbie doll and a Beast doll to go along with it. And for most of my career, what a lot of people don't know is I still had that Belle peasant Barbie dress that was blue and white that had the little apron with the little sparkles on it. And that's when, as I'm describing that Barbie dress in my promo at WWE, and I had Jessica Havoc tearing up crying. I had some of the WWE coaches crying, and I went like this, and I pulled out the Belle Barbie dress. And that I think is probably one of my proudest moments, because I mean, I could cut a promo that made people cry, but I was also being vulnerable and telling a story that I genuinely feel is indicative of my personality as a human being, my mentality, and how I approach humanity. It shows my empathy and compassion, as well as my heartfelt understanding of where I came from and who I want to be someday when I grow up, because I always feel like I'm in a process of being a grown-up. And it's indicative of the strength and resilience and the fortitude and the love and the gumption of my mother, who passed on all of these amazing attributes to me without even realizing it. And so I just think that that moment is huge, because even though I couldn't make it to my sister's graduation, I still had a piece of them right here with me. And I had that piece at Ring of Honor. I had that piece on the indies, and most people don't know, like, every time that they saw me wrestling, that Belle Barbie dress was right here over my heart, inside my gear. And I just think that that's like who I am as a person. You know, I'm still very much in tune with my roots. And I think that's probably one of my proudest moments, because I felt like in that moment I did my family proud. All the sacrifices my mom made, you know, and the sacrifice that my little sister made, and, you know, being like, you know, it's okay, go do this, and, you know, it's okay. And all the bumps and all the stuff that I had taken over the years from critics and fans and other wrestlers, and the sacrifices that you make, you know, to try to make your dream work, it all led to that moment. And that was the moment I dreamed of as a preteen and a teenager. And, you know, all the times I got made fun of in high school for wanting to be a wrestler, all the times I was bullied and beat up or whatever, it all led to that moment and kind of made that all worth it. And I had my mom, my sister right here, by having that little Belle Barbie dress, along with my Maleficent socks. So a heroine and a villain all in one. I really think that perhaps, even though I'm proud of getting signed to TNA, even though I'm proud to know that I spoke up and did the right things, even though I'm proud of my no DQ match and my promos, even though I'm proud of feeding families with Lucha Patron, I think we did like more than 20,000 meals together. And I think I've provided almost 7,000 pounds of, you know, dog and cat food for no-kill shelters. All those things are so much my mom. But I think, and I'm super proud of those things, and super proud to get to interact with you guys and everything like that, because it makes me who I am. But I definitely think, guys, that my proudest moment was a moment that very few people got to see. And that was talking about my mom and the first time that I had presents under the tree. And I just remember looking at the coaches' faces, like Sarah Amato, A-Train, William Regal, Rye Brookside, Jessica Havoc, Ember Moon, Drew Gulak, Chelsea Green, Giselle Shaw, Rachel Ellering. I just remember their faces, my promo, and it was like I was kind of, in a way, exposing a piece of myself that made me vulnerable, but it made that vulnerability worth it, because it was heartfelt and candid and honest, and it was like basically saying, this is who I am. If you sign me, this is the type of love, guts, and gumption that you will receive from me in return, because this is who I am. This is what made me the person I am today, that got here despite all the obstacles that were in my way, despite all the people that told me I would never make it or be anything, that all led me to here. And if you sign me, I will bring all of this love, guts, and gumption to your company. And I felt like in that moment, I really did myself and my family proud. I was 100% free with my authenticity before I even understood what that meant. And so I think that that's a very proud moment for me, that Belle Barbie dress. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of QnA Wednesday and making me cry, I might add. I hope you guys will join me for more Motivation Mondays. July 1st, we're going to have a new book for the Book of the Month Club. I did take into consideration what you guys asked, and instead of doing it monthly, I'm doing it every couple months. That way it's easier on the wallet, gives you guys more time to read it and comment on it and so forth and so on. I'm also getting ready to do more Taylor's Tiny Kitchen for my cooking shows, as well as clips from upcoming episodes of Talks with Taeler Hendrix, and so much more. Thank you so much. Be sure to do me a solid, like this video and a lot of my other videos. Let's Let's help get more eyeballs in on the Taeler Army community on YouTube. And I hope you guys have more questions for next week. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe here, youtube.com/Taeler Hendrix. Follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is at Taeler_Hendrix and Instagram is at Taeler Hendrix ROH. Ring of Hendrix! Sorry they aren't the same. There are fake me's on the platforms before the real me was, because I'm just not that cool and hip. Be sure to check out my website, TaelerHendrix.net. I'm getting ready to do some really cool updates with a designer because I don't know how to do that stuff myself. And check me out on Cameo. Now through the end of June in honor of Father's Day, I'm donating to my stepdad's two favorite charities, the ASPCA and the Wounded Warriors Project. So cameo.com/Taeler Hendrix. And check out my shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees because I may or may not be adding a brand new design, the first one in like almost 2 years. ProWrestlingTees.com/Taeler Hendrix. And of course, I will also be donating to no kill shelters with some proceeds